Season 4 of Stranger Things will probably not be as good as you want it to be. Let's find out why. So, Season 1 of Stranger Things, amazing. Season 2 of Stranger Things, amazing. Season 3 of Stranger Things, I don't know about that one, Chief. Listen, guys, I want to talk to you guys about Stranger Things because I love this show, and I just see it going downhill and just see it being milked the cow too much, and I don't want it to go downhill, obviously, but I see it going downhill, and it makes me upset. So let's talk about this. Season 1 of Stranger Things was amazing. You know, you got that kid lost in the woods type of thing, but it ends up being something way bigger. Really, it's not really a nice original. It's not really original, but they made it original. You know what I mean? They made it insanely good because you have the cop investigating. He finds out something strange up at the lab. These little kids are in this whole police search, and they're going behind the scenes and find this girl who can do telekinesis and stuff like that, and it just makes for a really good storyline. It's something that you probably didn't expect. Season 2, obviously, we had that. It's not really going to be as good because we already know what's going on with this upside down area. It's not really the most fun because you're not experiencing this with the characters, because every episode you're learning what the characters do. You're learning more about this crazy lab, but obviously they made it work. Now Season 3, my god, they brought in the Russians, and obviously they gotta branch it out more. They can't just be the underground the underground world that is being tested on and is sprouting out around it can't just be that every season. But the thing is with the Russians is they really just didn't really do such a good job with them. I feel they kind of just made them, other than Alexei, unrelatable and not as fun to watch because you don't know their language, you can't really understand them, and it's just got to read all these subtitles, and it's not fun. Another problem with Season 3, it's literally the same plot. Kids find something strange going on, Nancy and the teens find something strange going on, and Chief Police Hopper and Joyce find something strange going on, and they all merge together to fight it at the end. And I don't know, man, it's just the same thing every season. A couple uncouple goes to Murray's and they get coupleized, and it's just the same thing every season. And the Duffer Brothers probably have this idea that if they change that, it's probably going to affect the show, but they probably don't realize that it's literally the same thing every season, with all these kids, merging together, people finishing everybody's sentences, pointing out obvious things so the audience can understand. But honestly, it might be going downhill because, literally, just because of this same plot happening every season. It's just repetitive. And there's also other problems with Season 3. It's predictable. You can predict that Hopper's still alive. He probably is. They didn't show his body die. You can predict that Elle's gonna magically get her powers back the second that Hopper comes back because she can't look for Hopper because she doesn't have her powers. So as soon as he comes back, it's like, oh my god, I got my powers. And it's just gonna be the same thing every season with the kids in the background doing absolutely nothing while Elle does all the work. And I just gotta say, when Billy was choking out Elle, they were literally all just standing there doing nothing. And finally Mike picked up a pole or something and hit him, but it just took them way too long. You don't just stare at your friend getting choked out and just look shocked and wait for something to happen. I was like, okay, no. But that was a little rant. Let's talk about Season 4 now. Like I said, it's just predictable. You can predict that the Russians are going to do something because they can't let the Russians go now because they brought them in the story. It's going to take someplace, maybe because it's going to spread around the area because Will moved with Elle, so maybe there's going to be a gate somewhere around there, and they might have to close another gate, another gate, another gate. It's just the same thing every season is basically what I'm saying. It might just be a whole group forms together, meets Elle, Mike and Elle get back together, and then they fight demogorgons and giant spider things. I'm sorry, that was sick though. But the giant spider was maybe giant mind flayer was a bit too much. But they all come together and they fight the demogorgons. It's just you can predict what's gonna happen at this point in the show unless they twist it up, and I'm really hoping they do. Maybe they got rid of Elle's powers, so they got rid of the whole thing where the other characters literally have nothing to do in fight sequences because Elle's just throwing a monster left and right through a wall, through another wall, picking it up, splitting it in half, while she does everything, and then the other kids just like look there all shocked and stuff like that. So yeah. Another problem I have with the show is that I feel like they don't necessarily have balls. They don't have the balls to kill off any big characters. I mean, in Season 1, they killed off Barb. No one gave a crap about Barb. Like, obviously you can feel bad for Nancy because she's sad that her friend died, or was lost until she found that she died, but it's not like you had any emotional value connected with her. Season 2, Bob, that was horrible. Bring Bob back, please. Jesus Christ. Man, I felt so bad for Bob. That was the only one that they had the balls to kill off Bob. And then in Season 3, they kill off Billy, which you hated all of Season 2. And then at the last second, you just know why he's the way he is. And then you kind of, like, oh man, he had potential to be cool, but now he's dead. You know what I mean? So they don't really necessarily have the balls to kill off anybody big. And I know they can't really kill off any, like, kids, but then they try to kill off Hopper, but it's going to be a fake out. So, the only problem, I'm just having a hard time because I kind of know what the season is going to be like. In Season 4, there's going to be Russians, and they're going to have to close some sort of gate because it's happened in the last 2 seasons, and they're going to have to battle the Mind Flayer again. Elle's going to have to use her powers to close the gate, and somebody is probably going to die because every season somebody dies. But let's talk about some of the good. Now, obviously, we covered some of the bad of just the whole show just being predictive and just the plot being the same thing, and it's just not as good. Let's talk about the good. The possibility of Brenner returning is a big possibility. He may even be the person in the cell. Possibly, possibly not. He was confirmed to be alive in Season 2, in an episode that nobody watched, The Lost Sister. But there's also other things like his possibility of coming back and maybe trying to take 11 with maybe some sort of power that he may still have. Maybe he still has men in the military and stuff like that. I don't know how that works. But maybe he does. Maybe he knows 11's weaknesses. Maybe he knows how to kill her. Maybe he wants to kill her. You never know. But a really good thing is that we have the possibility of Elle being the villain of next season. Because she lost her powers, but that might be an interference because the Mind Flayer may have taken over her, or is starting to, because it bit her. And maybe that little bug in there did something to her, and maybe that's why she don't have her powers. So I don't know. That might be a big thing. She might not have her powers, but wouldn't the Mind Flayer want her to have her powers so she could, be the villain? Because that could be a more intense villain. You know what I mean? So there is that possibility, but at the same time, it's been done for the past 2 seasons. You had Will, then you had Billy. Now we're going to have Elle be the victim, the little possessed person that does everything. It just doesn't necessarily work anymore. They need to spice it up, and maybe the lack of the Upside Down in Season 3 is built up for Season 4. Maybe there are going to be whole episodes in the Upside Down. I don't know really where the point of the show is going. I feel like it should have ended at Season 1 or 2, because it's just getting to the point where it's kind of just being dragged out. They're doing stuff that really doesn't make sense, and they're doing stuff that is way too predictable. Season 1, Lost Boy finds there's a dead body. We think he's dead, but he's not dead because it's a stuffed body, and there's a whole other thing, he got dragged into another dimension, and there's this monster in the woods, and Barb is also dead, and it's just a really good story. The cop finds out, this lab's been doing something. It's just a classic good story that everybody can enjoy, and I just feel like now they're kind of dragging it out, and it's just, how does the same thing happen to the same people every time? That sort of thing. The coincidence that Billy becomes the flayed person, and he's connected to Max, and Max is connected to literally the entire group. So it just has that coincidence mark into it, and I just feel like season 4 will not be as hopingly good, but also I feel like it has potential, and maybe the Duffer Brothers will change it up for once, because I feel like their point of view is, hey, we've done everything really good. They've liked the whole 3 seasons for the most part, maybe not season 3 as much, but they've liked the 2 seasons, and they like the plot of that, so let's keep it, but change it a little bit. And it's kind of worked, but kind of not worked, because at this point, we can kind of understand what's going to happen, and hopefully, season 4 will change things up a bit, and maybe open up something that we didn't know was up the Duffer Brothers' sleeves.